Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. Today I'm bringing to you a new candle making video, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you a fun and unique technique. So we're going to be making a container candle, but we're also going to be topping it with some beautiful wax candle embeds. So what that means is we're going to be making little wax embeds out of these beautiful succulent trays, and then we're going to be topping our candle with it. Now, at the end of this video, you'll have all the information that you need to recreate this project yourself. But if you want the full written recipe and tutorial, please head on over to my Patreon campaign where you can unlock that for just a $5 pledge. In fact, you can still unlock all the recipes and tutorials I've ever published for just a small $5 pledge. The link is in the description box if you're interested. And if you like this content, please remember to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and share this video with a friend. This all really helps my channel growth, and it helps me to bring you the content that you really want to see. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is go ahead and cut up and weigh off the wax that we're going to be using to fill up these silicone molds, and I have 3 of them today. And I am using the coconut apricot wax from 1617. And it's the Luxe, that's what it's called, the Luxe wax. And I'll go ahead and put a link to this wax in the description box. And I just picked up these little silicone molds from the grocery store. I believe I picked a couple of them up from Walmart and then another one from Rayleigh's. So I will try to find a link to where you can get these at Walmart or maybe even Amazon by now. And you can pick those up if you like. Okay, so I'm going to weigh off about 6 ounces per tray of this wax. All right, now I've weighed these off into separate containers because we're going to be using different colors for the succulents. So what I'm going to do is take these Pyrex containers over to a saute pan with water, and we're going to melt this down double boiler style. All right, here are the 3 containers of wax, and I have them sitting in the saute pan with water over about medium-high heat just to kind of get this water going and get that wax melted down. And my goal is to get this melted down to right around 200 degrees, and then we're going to go ahead and add in the fragrance and the color. So I'll bring you back when the wax is completely melted down. All right, we've reached 200 degrees and we're now ready to add in the fragrance and the color. So today we're going to be using citrus agave from Candle Science, and this is just a little bit of wax in these containers, so we're only going to be adding in 2 milliliters of citrus agave fragrance oil. Now this is kind of a yellowing fragrance as well, you'll notice. It has a very yellow hue to it. So we're going to just be adding in 2 milliliters per 6 ounces. I'm going to go ahead and give that a stir. Now you want to manage this a little bit because the spoons can get pretty warm if you leave them in there like I did. So we're just going to give these a good stir. And I'm going to be using just the smallest bit of color. So I'm going to show you what that looks like, because the type of color that I'm using today is a very liquid concentrated candle dye from Sierra Candles. So this is purple. And usually to get a nice color, you only need about 1 drop per pound. And we only have 6 ounces in each of these little containers. So what I think I'm going to do is just go ahead and I've just emptied out. There we go. I just took a little toothpick and just took in a little bit of the dye. Now for the 2 different green colors, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be doing just a little bit on a toothpick and adding it in. Until I get the desired amount. If you use too much color, you do risk clogging up your wick. So we're going to do one light green and then one sort of medium green. There we go. And we're just going to mix these to combine. Okay. And now we're ready to go ahead and pour these into the molds. Okay, we're gonna do the lighter green first. Now, with these little silicone molds, if you can see, the bigger succulents have these little lips. We're not gonna pour past that lip because that's gonna create little holes for us so that we can place this over the wick on the candle without poking a hole. So that will make more sense as I show you as we get closer. And I'm trying to just pour these in low and flat. I don't want them too raised. And I'm gonna just go ahead and do all the big ones first. And I'm just going slow. The Pyrex is nice here because you can get closer to the silicone mold and you don't risk over spilling because you have better control. All right, and then we're gonna go set this aside and move on to the next step. Okay, so we're ready to go ahead and place some wicks into our containers. And today I'm using these beautiful Copenhagen containers from 1617, and they are just gorgeous. They're made out of concrete, but they're surprisingly kind of lightweight. They come with lids. And for this succulent candle project, I thought they would be the absolute perfect container because they just kind of remind me of like terracotta planters, and so I thought they would look really cute topped with those cute little succulents. And for these containers, I'm going to be using the CDN3 sized wick. So this is what they look like. They come from 1617, CDN size 3. So what I'm going to be doing is demoing this beautiful wick kit. So this is going to help me place my wicks perfectly centered. And this also came from 1617 with the Evermore bowls that I've shown you before. I just have never had a chance to use this. I didn't have these tools the last video I made, but they also fit these Copenhagen containers perfectly. So win-win. So the way we're going to use this is the bottom piece, and you just go ahead and you place it to the bottom of your container like so. And then you're going to get your wick sticker. In this case, I'm using the Wick Stickers Pro from Candle Science, and this could not make your life easier. So we're just going to take off stick our wick down, and then we're just going to line it up with this hole. and get it lined up perfectly. And then we're going to repeat that. And then this piece gets removed. So you take this bottom piece out, and then you have your wicks all stuck down perfectly. And then time to go ahead and place the little stabilizer here. So we're just going to line it up with our wicks and secure them. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. So it has two little notches, one here, and you just pull it down, and then you pull it down through the second notch, and then that way it's not in your way when you're pouring. It's brilliant. Okay, and then that is how you perfectly wick one of these Copenhagen containers. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wick the other two. All right, these are wicked, and now we're ready to go ahead and weigh off the wax to pour into these containers. Okay, so what we're gonna do is cut up 40 ounces of the coconut apricot wax, and we're just gonna place it directly into the melt pot that's sitting on the scale. Now, this project definitely is a labor of love. They turn out super cute, but they do take a long time to make. So here we go. All right, it's all cut up and weighed off, and now it's time to go melt it down. All right, I have my wax sitting over direct heat in my melt pot over about medium low on my stove, and we're just gonna melt it down until it reaches 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we've reached just over 200 degrees, around 201 degrees, and I've taken it off the stove. And now it is time to go ahead and add in the fragrance oil. So again, we're using Citrus Agave by Candle Science. It's a really clean, citrusy, oh gosh, it's just, it's kind of a citrus blend, but it definitely has like a agave syrup kind of note to it. Very, very beautiful. So I am just pouring it in now. I know this temperature seems high, but not for this wax. So you do want to go ahead and pour the fragrance oil in when the wax is around 200 degrees. So that's going to help all of the fragrance oil molecules to bind with the wax, and actually will help with your scent throw with this particular wax. I'm going to give it a good stir. Okay, and we are ready to go ahead and pour it into these containers. Now, the trick here is I'm going to be making another one of these later, so I have more wax than I need probably for these three. But I'm not going to be pouring them all the way to the top because I want to make sure I leave some space for my little succulents and also for that lid to go back on. So we are just going to go ahead and slowly pour. and I think I'm gonna stop right there. Okay, might have poured that one just a little bit too high, but that's okay. It's a handmade product and they are never perfect. So while these are setting up, we're just gonna go ahead and start taking our little succulents out of the mold. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start with the lighter green ones. I'm just pulling the edges of my mold away. Now, last time I made these candles, this wax was very good for embeds. See how perfectly they come out? Now, those little holes right there, we're gonna use to place over the wicks. So we're just gonna go ahead and take all of these out. Now, we likely are not gonna be using all of these, but this is good to fill up your whole mold, because if you wanna do it again, then you have extra left over that you don't have to make every time you make this project. Okay, here they are, all unmolded. Now there's not very much variation in color between the light and the medium green, just slight, but it's super important not to put too much color in these, because if you want to burn this candle, again, too much color is going to choke out your wick. So it's more important just to have a nice subtle difference than to overcolor your wax. Okay, so we're gonna let these candles set up all the way and then remove the wick clips, and then we're gonna come back and show you how to adhere the little succulents to the top of the candle. So cute. All right, it's time to go ahead and remove these wick stabilizers and add the succulents to the top of these candles. So these have been sitting now for probably about an hour and a half or so, just at room temperature, and they are lukewarm on the outside. So you want to handle these very carefully so you don't disturb the wax at the top here of the candle. There we go. And one removed, and then we're going to go ahead and do the rest. All right, I've gone ahead and trimmed these wicks down now, and when you use these little guides here, the notch leaves a little indent on the wick, and that's what I used as my guide to trim it. And it's about a ½ an inch long right now. Typically you would trim them a little bit lower, but because we're going to be adding some height with the succulents, I wanted to leave them a little longer intentionally. So this is basically what I do in deciding where I want to place them. So we are going to be using a heat gun to slowly melt down the tops to get the top layer to more of like a liquidy state, so then when we place the succulents on and everything solidifies back up, the succulents will be stuck down. But this is what I do first. Before I do any heat gunning, I take a look at which succulents I want to use. Now see, we talked about those little holes in the top, and we left them there intentionally to go ahead and just adhere or just slide them down the wick. So we're going to use a purple one, and I think I'm going to go ahead and use one of the slightly darker green ones onto this side. And then we're just going to start slowly filling in with the medium succulents and the small. And then we'll go ahead and put a purple one over here. And then another maybe medium, maybe a lighter color green one here. All right, and then you can leave that if you like it like that, or you can take it out and rearrange it before you apply any heat, because once you get the heat on there, then it's awfully hard to pick them up and remove them. So this is basically my process. And I just think it looks super cute. I'll give you a little visual there. So then if you like the way it looks, you're just going to go ahead and use this as your guide to go ahead and make the next one. But then the next one you're going to do, you're going to apply the heat first. And then you're going to lay down the succulents where you want. And then as it cools, it'll stick. So that's pretty much what I do. So I like the way this looks right here. So I'm going to go ahead and move these over. And then I'm going to get my heat gun. And I'm just going to turn it on. This is the type of heat gun that I use. It's a Cobalt. I've had it for a long time. It's got two different settings, a high and a low, but then I like it because it's got temperature controls here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn mine to 260 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to go just on the low setting. And then you have to kind of be ready to work fast. So once I get my my wax melted down, then we'll be ready to go ahead and add the succulents. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and let these solidify and get nice and set up, and then I'll bring you right back to show you how they burn. I might add a little bit of detail up here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that, so I'll bring you back and show you if I'm going to do that. But this is basically the process. I'll bring you in for a close-up in just a second. All right, I've decided to add a little bit of sparkle to the top, so I'm going to be using the Nurture Soap little glitter sprayer thing, and this has some green biodegradable glitter in it. It's a very, very fine, and I'm just going to put the tiniest bit on here because again, I don't want to disturb the integrity of the candle. So I'm just going to go ahead and just to give it a little accent, I'm just ever so slightly spraying the top of the succulents. It's got just a green, shimmery little bio glitter in it. There we go. All right. And now I'll bring you in for a close-up. All right, this is how they look. I am absolutely in love with how they turned out. I think that one's my favorite. Super, super cute. Very upscale looking. Now, if you got ahead, if you could, find a space where you can work ahead and get all these little embeds made a couple days ahead of time, this actual process, really wouldn't take too terribly long. But this is so, so cute. So I'm going to allow these to set up overnight, and then I want to show you how one of them burns. Okay, these have been setting up now for about 24 hours. I just think they're so cute. And I'm going to go ahead and light the navy blue one for you because that one I poured lower intentionally just so I could show you how these burn. But I also left the wicks a little bit longer intentionally because obviously this is not even across the top. So we need the wax to kind of catch up with itself. And last time I made these and burned them, they don't burn obviously like a traditional candle. So I'm going to show you what that looks like as we go along. Okay, it's all lit, super cute, and I'm going to bring you back in about an hour or two to show you the progress. All right, this candle's been burning for an hour, and I would say we're getting a perfect burn. The flame is not too high, it's not too short, and it's starting to get a pretty decent melt pool. So I wouldn't be surprised, just based on my last experience burning these, if the flame gets a little shorter as we get closer to the edges of the container here. So I will bring you back in about another hour or so. All right, so this candle has been burning now for just under 3 hours, and it's developing a really nice melt pool. The flames look really good still. So I'm just gonna bring you back for one more update so you can see what it looks like when the wax pool, the melt pool, reaches the edges of this container. Okay, everybody, this is the last update of this video, and this candle has been burning now for a total of 4 hours, and we have almost a complete melt pool here. We just have a little bit of hang up, but in the subsequent burns, this wax will catch up with itself. I do consider this a very beautifully burning candle, and the scent throw is great, and it's also really pretty to look at. So that concludes today's video. I hope you really liked this content. If you did, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with a friend. Catch you on the next video. Keep shining.